I know you have it tough in the dating world. Hi, I'm Martin. I've been a dating and relationship coach for 17 years, over 17 years. And today we're going to talk about how brutal it is out there in the world of dating. Many times in the comments of my videos, I get guys telling me that I don't understand their situation, that they have it difficult, that because I'm successful, and even some of them think of me as good looking, they think that I can't understand the relationship problems they face. Now, I'm not going to say that your situation isn't really tough. Some of you watching this, I'm sure it's far tougher than I would ever want to imagine. But I wanted to bring up one of my clients that I worked with as a great example of what it's like when your dating and relationship situation is tough, when you don't start off with much. So I had a client many years ago who was born with only 3 fingers on each hand and 2 toes on each foot. And his toes were so misshapen, or his feet were so misshapen, that he didn't even really want to show them to me. He had to be very careful about the kind of shoes that he wore because they needed to be able to fit his feet in them. And to be able to make his fingers at least slightly functional, he had to have multiple surgeries growing up as a kid so that he could be able to use them to do basic functions. He also was born with a cleft palate, which they did surgery to repair, but you could see that his face was pretty asymmetrical and there was some scarring. And I have to tell you, when this guy reached out to me, it was the first time that I ever met someone, and I really wasn't sure whether I would be able to help them. He told me that reaching out to me was his last resort, and that if working with me didn't work out for him, then he maybe would just give up. And I don't know exactly what give up meant for him, but I didn't want to think that it could mean the worst. And this guy was putting his faith in me. And while I had a lot of reservations about it, one of the things that I didn't know when I started this business is that the best part about it is the impact, the positive impact I can have on other people's lives and seeing them thrive and be successful. And when this guy came to me, I honestly didn't know whether I would be able to help him. But I thought, well, I can teach him the tools that I know. And if he uses them, then certainly he can have better outcomes than he has now. And I think that is the key. How tough you have it and where you start is not about whether you can do better or not. It's about how much better you can do. And here is why it's so important not to focus on what other people are getting. As long as you focus on what other people are getting, you're always going to feel bad. You can always find people that can make you feel bad about your situation. But the beauty is that you don't have to want the same things as other people want. I've worked with plenty of guys who, after they worked with me, they had almost no problem taking a girl home every night of the week if they wanted to. Now, that's never been my strong suit. But you know what? It's never really been something that really appealed to me. For me, I'm not that into getting new girls. I like having and keeping girls that I really like and developing those relationships. And so, yeah, I can be envious that these guys can get a lot more random tang than I can, sure. But the fact is that that's not really what I want. And so when you look at this client of mine who was coming at this with his physical limitations, yeah, he could compare himself to anybody, basically, and feel bad about his situation and about his prospects. But it was very clear that for him, it wasn't about wanting to be as good or wanting to have what other people had. He just wanted to have enough to make his situation a lot less painful. And even this guy, within 3 months, lost his virginity. Now, I'd never met this woman. She was an older woman, in her maybe late 30s or something, early 40s. And maybe that's not what you want. And I can understand that if that's not what you want. He was in his late 20s at the time. But it's not about whether that's what you want. It's about, can you do better than what you have now? And it's about taking the steps you can take to improve. Instead of sitting around and complaining about how tough you have it and how easy it is for other people and focusing on that, focus on taking whatever small steps you can and on moving forward. And yeah, maybe there's someone listening to this right now who has it worse than this client that I'm bringing up. And if you do have it worse, you can still use this as inspiration. But for the vast majority of you listening to this, I know you have 5 fingers, 5 toes, you're normal height, normal shape, and you won't even do the basic things that can make your situation better. So I have no sympathy for you, because there is help out there. There's obvious things you can do. And I encourage you to do those obvious things. Take those steps. Make your life better. And almost invariably, you can have better outcomes than my client, who was very happy with his outcomes, even though those outcomes are probably far less than what you can achieve.